Okay, I am back. This is part two of my peer review for Morgan. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Do all the details in each paragraph belong to the topic sentence? I would say yes. Everything kind of jived for me. Are all the areas in the essay fully developed? Am I left with any unanswered questions? Identify any places where the writing needs more detail, evidence, more explanation. Is the writing confusing, unclear, repetitive? I understood what you were writing, so I don't know if that means it's fully developed or not. But again, I found your style of writing to be very easy to follow along with and understand. So I liked it. I think sometimes in these kind of works that people tend to over explain or almost over argue the point. I don't find that to be effective personally. So I liked it. Let's move on to the next one. Uh, does your essay progress logically and clearly from one part of the story to the next? Are there any places where you seem to jump around? No, you don't jump around, at least not to me. Um, does the essay progress logically and clearly? Yep, I think it does. Um, do you have all the background information you need to understand what the writer plans to discuss? Are there any subject specific terms that need to be defined or explained? Um, you give a little bit of background. Obviously, you're not giving like a history lesson here, but I felt like you gave a pretty good um, amount of background. You know, um, so I would say you're good there. Um, any subject specific terms that need to be defined or explained? I didn't find that to be the case. This is a topic I've read stuff on though, so I don't know. Maybe I know a little bit more than the average person on this one. We also looked into this actually, and I study psychology. That's what I'm majoring in, and we've done some. I've done some research on the topic via that, and so anyway, I don't know. I think the average reader would be fine. Let's see. Does the essay have a conclusion that brings closure? Yes, you definitely have a conclusion. Get your kids vaccinated because facts say that that's a good idea, right? So, uh, your conclusion was rather clear to me. If any, again, as mentioned earlier, if anything, you kind of put that out there early on. Maybe adjust that. But based on your conclusion, what do I think the essay is about? I kind of just said it. Get your kids vaccinated because it makes sense. Um, let's see. After reading the essay, why should the audience continue to care about these ideas? How do they fit into the big picture? I kind of touched on this one. I think everyone should take an active interest in a topic like this. No reasonable person is suggesting that we just inject ourselves with medicine and drugs without understanding what they are. But look, people need to take some personal responsibility. As soon as you hear medicine go sideways, people get all up in arms and like they're poisoning us. Well, I'd love to know how many of the people actually read the warning label, like the whole warning label, and actually really understand and do some research. My guess is a lot of people don't do that. And then when bad stuff happens, they get all like, "Oh, how could this happen?" Well, it could because it was a calculated risk you took, right? I was prescribed a medicine. I don't recall the name of it at the moment, unfortunately, but um, it's meant to kind of stave off the early onset of flu. And one of the side effects was is it had psychotic side effects like really bad dreams and potential suicidal tendencies. Which, if you read the warning labels, actually a lot of medicines have that on there. But anyway, this was one that I did some research on. And I did the calculation and I said, well, is that worth me maybe getting the flu? And I said, well, I think I'd rather have the flu, take some Theraflu and tough it out. And I opted not to take that medicine. Personal decision, right? get all my vaccines though. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe a little off topic there, but that's how it relates to me, the reader. That's some of the stuff that goes through my head when I read your paper. Um, the uh, the essay. Yes, your essay was pleasurable to read. Structure good. Um, I didn't find anything awkward or confusing. Do you use abstract or concrete language? I don't know. I found your use of language appropriate. It flowed for me. Again, I think your writing style is pretty. I found it to be pretty focused. So again, it's a paper that's enjoyable to read. I didn't have to go back and reread a lot of it. Um, did the author include sources? Yes, you did. I found them to be credible. Certainly, I am not an expert, but I think you're good on that. And then as far as the formatting, in-text citations, margins, I I think you're good. In the other paper I reviewed, their works cited was a little bit off. Yours is good. It looks good at least. I think so. I think his was messed up. So yeah, so I think you're good on that. I hope you found this to be helpful. I've never done this before, so if this was terrible, I apologize. But it probably won't be any worse than anything I would have written. So it's probably half a dozen, six of the other. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me an email. On the student email, I'd be happy to expand on anything. If, again, you have questions or want additional feedback, I'd be happy to do that. Just shoot me a note. Other than that, I hope you have a great evening and a highly productive week. Take care. Bye.